Hey, sweetie fam. Welcome back. I am Favorite Picture Denise, produced by Zenny Productions. Favorite plus size stylist is back with another one. If you haven't been here before, go down to the subscribe button. Click the bell so you can be notified. I drop a video every Tuesday and Thursday at 4 p.m. And on this channel, I create family, fashion, and lifestyle content because this is the place to be for all of that. And that's on period. Y'all, listen. I have wanted to talk about this for a long time. Talking about this topic is pretty hard for me. But then once I do talk about it to certain people, other people are like, oh yeah, like I had that, or this happened to me. My daughter got a diagnosis a few years ago, and it is called Central Precocious Puberty. And I won't, put the word on the screen, or the endocrinologist was call it CPP. Around the age of, I'm going to say about 3.5, 4, I noticed that she had a smell under her arms. And I just mean like the regular smell, like if you don't put on deodorant, so what it has like a musty stench. I would say that's like the traditional way I can explain it for you to understand. And I'm like 3.5, 4, and I was like, no, not 3.5, 4. This is a child who, yes, at that time she was an athlete. She was doing ballet once a week and soccer, but not enough to be smelling like this, having that smell under her underarms. So about 4 years old, I started using Secret on her because I'm like, what other way are you supposed to get the smell from under your arms unless, you wash it, which I was doing. She was getting clean on a regular basis. Now about 6 months later, this was like the summer of 2018. About 6 months later, her bottom 2 teeth came out. So she wasn't even 5 years old, and she was doing the whole snag-a-tooth, thing. And it was her baby teeth. And when her bottom 2 teeth fell out, about 2 or 3 weeks later, we could see the, adult teeth protruding out. So we're talking about almost 5, not even 5, but 4 years old, she losing teeth. About 3 or 4 months later, other teeth begin to get loose. The baby teeth begin to get loose to come out. So those were the first 2 signs, right? Now, I also realized that her weight shifted. She literally went from like a size, honestly, like a 3T to like a 6, right? And we're talking about a child who is being like physically active, if not every day, multiple times a week, right? And so she's being physical. Like I said, she's dancing. She also plays soccer every Saturday. So it's like her metabolism is moving. Why does she, and I don't mean like as in gain weight, as in wider, but just like she sprouted up. It was just a whole like growth spurt of the ages of like 4 to like 6. Like tremendous. And I know your child is going to grow, but not where it's like I say it's almost 5 sizes, significant amount up 2 to 3, 4 sizes in shoe. And also, and normally in girls, and being that that's not how I was, and my mom, and so on and so forth, it was alarming. So the first thing I did was I talked to her doctor, and this is when we were in Nashville, and I talked to her doctor, and I brought it up, and so we kind of came up with a plan to watch her for the next 8 months to a year, and that's what we did. So when she was 5, almost right before she turned 6, we started to watch her and the things. So right before that is when I felt like I started to see chest bulbs, is what I call it, which is the area where, you would be forming breast, or the breast tissue would be growing, right? And I'm like, maybe I'm tripping, okay? But then, like, right when I started noticing that, that's when COVID came, and y'all know how that went. We left Tennessee, bought a house in Champaign, Illinois in 2020, and then once things start opening back up and so on and so forth, that's, I got the kids a pediatrician, and so I brought these concerns to my pediatrician here. And immediately my pediatrician was like, okay, I see what you're saying. Let's get her into an endocrinologist. Endocrinologist is the one who checks your hormones or gets the testing for your hormones, get your x-rays for your hands, for your bones, to see if puberty is actually starting. Now, so at this point, I don't know any of that. So I've never been to an endocrinologist, didn't even know what an endocrinologist did. So we took her, it was the beginning of, it was like January or February of 2021. So now, you know, you're able to, you know, really go outside. You still gotta wear a mask a lot of the times in a lot of places, but, you know, we're moving and grooving, okay? Kids are back in school. At this no, are they back in school? Not yet. No, I'm sorry, it's not yet, because this is the 2020 and 2021 school year. So slowly but surely, you know, the world is opening back up, and we go into the endocrinologist, and they explain to me two different things. They say either your daughter has what they call premature adrenarche, okay, and that just means the forming of early forming of pubic hair, underarm hair, and, you know, the glands and things like that, which helps you smell, you know, gives you that musty smell and things like that. That is honestly normal, is what he tells me. And I'm like, for real? He's like, yes. He's like, it's normal for a child of 5 and 6 years old to have underarm hair and sometimes pubic hair, because it, you know, it's just premature and there's nothing you can do about it. And I was like, normal? Oh my God, how's this normal? And then he talks about the other thing would be that you do not have the premature adrenarche. I may be saying it wrong. Y'all, I'm gonna put it across the screen right here. And your child would have central precocious puberty, which is CPP, and the testing will show you the difference. And the first thing my oldest daughter had to have done was an x-ray of her hands, and this is what the endocrinologist told me, that is the first way to show signs of central precocious puberty. So she had the x-ray of her hands done like early February, and then we had to go back to the endocrinologist, and those results actually were on point to just her being a 9-year-old young lady and no signs of premature puberty. So I was like, okay, cool, okay, we got this thing going. So the next thing was a testing where she had to fast for, I think it was like 12 or 14 hours, where she couldn't eat anything, nothing. Okay, and so we made sure that appointment to go in to be seen would be at 8 a.m. So then she wouldn't eat after 12, after 8, which is normally her bedtime. So when she got there, what they had to do was put an IV in her arm, IV in her arm, and then start this fluid. Okay. And then every hour for the next 3 to 4 hours, they would draw her blood. Okay. So that is what they did. And then after that is when, you know, she could eat. And so that was the second testing she had done. Now, the last testing, she had to have a scan of her brain, where they, you know, put the IV in. I think they put her to sleep. No, they didn't put the IV in. I'm sorry. They, you know, gave her the gas mask and put her to sleep. And that was a whole baby like, she was hollering, screaming, and all of these things. And I couldn't help but to be sad for her, because this isn't something like she did to herself, someone did to her. It's just the release of the puberty, portion in your brain being released early. Like, it's just the way it happens. Like, it's really nothing that could have been done. There isn't really nothing. There isn't anything that could have been done to stop this in advance. Right? So nobody started it for her. She didn't start it for herself. It literally is just what we call an act of God. The levels for Sydney when it comes to the puberty level. So it says that if you are, I think it was like 12.5 and over, closer to 20 or over 20. If you closer to 12.5, then, you know, you're in a lower like spectrum of it, and it's really not a big deal. But if you're closer to 20, if not 20 or over 20, then you definitely have central precocious puberty, and we need to work, you know, through that. And my oldest daughter's test scores were really high. Her lowest test scores, 3 tests, was like 17.2. That was the lowest. The rest of them was higher. None of them were over, out of 3 tests, none of them was over 20, but they were all higher than 17.2. So 17.2 was the first one, and I don't remember the other 2. Is my 7-year-old going through puberty? Like, is my 7-year-old about to have the cramps, the mood swings, the hormonal changes, the acne and all these things? That was another thing I started seeing, like, facial blemishes on her face. Little, bumps of, like as if she was starting to go through acne. She was like 6 years old then. And I'm like, well, me and my husband went back to get, the results from her 3 testing, from her MRI. And that's when we were given this pamphlet, okay? And this just says Central Precocious Puberty, CPP, diagnosis and treatment. And it says CPP is the process of puberty happening to early children. For girls, that's before the age of 8, and for boys, it's before the age of 9. CPP occurs when the brain releases certain hormones too early. These hormones causes the changes seen in puberty. So, as you can see here, this is the girl, this is the boy. So we'll say breast bumps, or period. You can get mood swings, acne only on the skin, adult body odor, pubic hair, and sudden growth spurts. So as I told you, I started seeing breast bumps. I started seeing the acne on the skin, the adult odor, which is the smells on the arms. Now, I didn't see any pubic hair, but I felt like under the arms I could see little hairs, but also my entire family is hairy, so that kind of wasn't a normal. However, this shows it right here. And so with CPP, there's so many kinds about it, it's kind of overwhelming. And one of the main things that I was thinking about is like, if she, goes into starting her period at 7 and 8 years old, does that mean she's going to be going through menopause in her late 20s? Right? Or does that mean that, she won't be able to have children, all these things, if that's what she wants, So I'm thinking about all these things. Like it's just so many things going through my head. Another thing about children with CPP, they're normally taller growing up because they're hitting growth spurts faster than other kids. But then as a result of them hitting those growth spurts so much sooner, they're shorter as adults. They also gain weight a lot faster than others. Okay? Yeah. Now, I immediately asked what was the treatment. Let me tell y'all the treatment. Now, this is where I was blew back. Treatment for Central Precocious Puberty is Lupron Depot. Yeah, Depot. I know. So, pretty much it's a medication called Lupron. Okay? You could get it a few different ways. You can get it in a monthly shot. Sounds like the Depot that you get for birth control that you get. Is it once a month or every 3 months? Okay. You can also get a device put in your arm where it would release, like it's supposed to. Sounds like the Implanon that you get in your arm for birth control, right? And then there was something you can get once a month, similar to like the daily pill, something like that for birth control. And all I'm thinking is like, this sounds like birth control to me. Why would I put my 7-year-old turning my almost 8-year-old on birth control? Thinking like, is this our only option? Is this our only option? Right? So I just want to see here. It says during the first weeks of treatments, signs of puberty such as vaginal bleeding may occur. If the treatment is supposed to stop puberty, why would it make her body do what I'm telling it not to do? Like that don't even make any sense. It also says some people taking it have had new or worsening mental and psychiatric problems. Mental psychiatric problems may be included emotional symptoms such as crying, irritability, restlessness, impatience, anger, and aggressive. The most common side effect is the injection site, swelling, abscess, weight gain, pain through the body, headache, acne, red, itchy, rash, white scales, a skin rash, mood changes, swelling of the vagina, vaginitis, and vaginal bleeding and a vaginal discharge. That's the one that you get every month. And then the one that you receive every 3 months, like the depot. And the side effects are the injection site pain, weight gain, headache, mood swings, and injection site. Injection site swelling. So as he is telling me all these things and I'm reading it, I'm thinking to myself, you got to be kidding me. I'm not going to put my daughter on a treatment plan, even though this is a very serious diagnosis, as if she on birth control. Like, you, what? Like, no. He said this is the #1 treatment for kids. I wouldn't, no. If you want to know more about central precocious puberty, I pretty much just gave you an overall of my experience with it. And if you are a parent or a guardian of a child that you see signs, and I'm going to say specifically to a little girl because that is my experience, was with a little girl, definitely comment down below. I would love to have a conversation with you and also make more videos about central precocious puberty. I'm Patra Denise, and don't forget to be good on purpose, okay? Smooches!